And we have a lot of speakers because we have a lot of people involved in coming up with our bill on competition. And so the order, I'm going to give the order here and we're going to stick to it. The order, and I don't have my opening remarks, press people.
Right here. Oh, right here you are.
Okay, now I have them. Would you like to make a copy of them?
I was trying to intercept that.
Okay. The order of the speakers are Schumer, Murray, Stabenow, Wyden, Reed, Carper, Menendez, Cardin, Shaheen, Merkley, Coons, Murphy, Peters. We're not going to deviate from that order. Everyone's going to try to be brief. Well, we want to thank you all for coming. The Senate did some great and historic work last Congress, building an incredible foundation, not just to compete with the Chinese government, but to enhance America's global leadership in the 21st century. From the CHIPS and Science Bill and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill to last year's omnibus and everything in between, we laid a strong foundation for the future. But we all know that despite that strong progress, our work is not done. We will work in a bipartisan fashion. I've asked each of these chairs to reach out to their ranking members to come up with bipartisan legislation to deal with the Chinese government, and we're having great interest, I would say, from our Republican colleagues. And we're going to do it like we will work in the bipartisan fashion, like we modeled with CHIPS and Science, to continue to boost our national security and compete and counter the Chinese government's role throughout the world. So today, we are announcing a new initiative, one that will build on this momentum and develop new and significant bipartisan legislation that includes hearings, markups, working directly together with our Republican colleagues to build and move legislation. In recent weeks, I have met with and tasked a number of our chairs, many of them are here today, to reach out to their ranking members and other Republicans and begin working to deliver packages of bipartisan legislation which we will combine into one large Chinese government competition bill in coming months. We have 5 key areas we are focusing on. First, limiting the flow of advanced technology to the Chinese government. We will work to halt the Chinese government's development of advanced technologies that we know will shape the course of this century. We need to build on the kinds of actions like the Biden administration's export control rule to block the flow of chip tooling technology to China. I've asked Chairs Brown and Menendez to look at authorities in their respective jurisdictions to strengthen export control laws and identify new sanctions that may be needed and counter Chinese government coercion. 2, we want to limit the flow of investment to the Chinese government. It's incumbent on us to ensure that the U.S. is not the financial lifeblood supporting the Chinese government and its military technological advancement. We must make sure that we can prevent the Chinese government from using our own free society to acquire and even steal U.S. innovations and critical technologies. This means giving the Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce new authorities to screen and, where appropriate, halt the flow of capital to China's high-tech industries. Senators Casey and Cornyn have a strong bipartisan bill here that will help. I've talked to Senator Cornyn. He's very interested in working with us on this. 3, domestic economic investments. We all know that it's critical to invest in the industries of the future here in America. CHIPS and Science and the IRA are already creating vital investments across our country. But to ensure these gains are felt by American families and not outsourced to benefit foreign entities and fully fund the science investment from last year's bipartisan bill, we have to move further. We need our chairs to keep identifying critical vulnerabilities, including assistance for small business, and, very important, building a workforce for the future. We need also to further strengthen the CFIUS process. Senators Peters, Cantwell, Murray, Cardin, and Warner are already doing good work here. 4, economic ally and partner alignment. It's vital that the United States provide a stark and credible alternative to the Chinese government's so-called Belt and Road Initiative, seeking to expand their influence around the globe. We have allies and partners who stand ready and willing to work with us to provide a positive alternative to China that actually benefits those countries looking for a helping hand. And now is the time for us to harness those potential alternatives. And finally, security, ally, and partner alignment. We must continue to deter the Chinese government from any conflict with Taiwan. Chairs Menendez, Warner, Murray, and Reid have worked on this. Last year, Chairman Menendez and Ranking Member Risch had good proposals. They didn't make it into legislation, but that's a good basis for us to work in this area. So, bottom line, time's not on our side. The Xi regime is working every day to catch up and surpass the United States. There is no reason our two parties here in the Congress and in the Senate can't come together and send a strong message to the Chinese government that we're united in this pressing national security effort, and we are committed to maintaining America's lead in the future. Senator Murray.